Controversial influencer Clavicular says he is home from the hospital after he appeared to suffer an overdose during a live stream last night. CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman has more.
This story focuses around Braden Peters, also known as Clavicular, an online influencer who was one of the pioneers of something called looksmaxxing. Tuesday night in Miami, he appeared woozy on this live stream. He live streamed constantly and then appears to overdose. He is carried out of this nightclub by security, loaded into a waiting SUV. You can see an ambulance right behind. And then very early the next morning, he posted about having taken too much of a substance and getting these scratches on his face from some sort of respirator that was used in the hospital. Now, Peters, also known as Clavicular or Clav as he prefers, has gained a lot of controversy recently because of looksmaxxing and the extremes he has taken and other young people have taken to increase or maximize their attractiveness to women. Peters has talked about smashing himself in the face with a fist, sometimes using a hammer, to try to get a more chiseled look on his cheekbones and his jawbone, to taking methamphetamine, to steroid use since the age of 14, to the use of amphetamines in general just to stay slim as he tried to bulk up. He also gained controversy in February for allegedly instigating a fight between two women, which he live streamed in order to get clicks. He was charged with a misdemeanor in that case. He has not yet pleaded and hasn't been convicted of a crime, but it's part of a general trend which has gained him a bunch of criticism for alleged misogyny and his approach towards women in some of the live streams. And recently he did an interview on 60 Minutes Australia in which he was not apologetic for what he did. But when the interviewer asked him about his reported association with people like Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate, two very controversial online figures, he walked out of the interview. We don't know if he is going to face any charges for this. At this point, we understand he is not, and already posted again online talking about a new club that he is opening very shortly. Back to you.
All right, Matt Gutman, thank you. The Free Press reporter River Page has written about the rise of looksmaxxing and joins us now. Okay, so for somebody who doesn't know what this is, help us understand it and some of the extreme methods that are used.
So looksmaxxing is basically this online subculture of young men who believe that they need to do whatever they can to get as hot as possible because they believe that like the only way you're going to be able to succeed in your romantic life and to a certain extent like get a good job and all this other stuff is to be attractive. And I wrote about this at the Free Press, but like some of the people I interviewed one guy who was injecting filler like hyaluronic acid into his heels to try to make himself taller. There's this thing called bone smashing where you take a hammer and you hit yourself in the cheekbone or the jaw, and the theory is that the bones will grow back stronger and more prominent. Anabolic steroid use is very, very common.
I mean, these are the extreme methods being used by influencers who also know the power of inducing rage and being outrageous, but is there evidence to show that people are following this?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my reporting, I was looking at these forums where these are people who are not famous, a lot of them alarmingly young too, like 14, they're using meth. Like, one of the quotes I have is this kid who's like, I've been using meth to make my cheeks more hollow, but my heart rate has been increasing a lot, and like, should I go to a doctor? And he listed his beats per minute, and it's just like crazy. It's a lot of these kids who are just using all these different drugs or buying Chinese research chemicals off the internet. It's very just like DIY. How do you say?
Yeah, do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Is it mostly young men and boys?
Yeah, mostly young men. I don't know if I ever encountered one over like 30. And a lot of them alarmingly young, like I said. I think the youngest one that I found was like 13.
What are you finding culturally that this is having its moment, that the pressure that males are facing right now?
I think that, for most of history, if you were a man, the way that you attracted a woman or whatever is that you like became a provider and you became you got a good job, you got a good education, whatever. Now everybody's dating online. It's all about your face and how you look. Like there is a sort of perverse logic to the looksmaxxer mindset, which is that it's very difficult to date as a young person if you're on the apps, if you're not very attractive. And so I think what these things like, for example, bodybuilding was like a niche outsider sport until the 80s, and then it becomes like really, really big. And so like this hasn't always been the case. Even if we talk about before looksmaxxing, the focus on men's bodies and has like really, it's a really new thing that arose with like mass media, TV in the 80s, and it's kind of just escalated, and now it's algorithmatized online.
And real quick, a part of that algorithm, what is Clavicular's role in that, in bringing looksmaxxing now to the forefront of of the zeitgeist?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we would be talking about looksmaxxing if it weren't for Clavicular. He has a sort of charm about him. He has this he uses looksmaxxing lingo, which is like, I'm coffee cup maxing. I don't know. It's this really weird
Level
stuff.
up, mog.
Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of watching it as like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to talk like this. And I think because he's so extreme, because he was like, yeah, I started doing meth when I was 16, and I'm sterile at 20, and all this other stuff. It was just so outrageous. I think it got people's attention.
Lot to be said there for that and some other influencers there in the so-called manosphere, but we'll save that for another day. River Page, thank you.
Thank you.